Hello, good morning. Just waiting for our participants. I see already 6. I think we can wait 1 more minute. But in the meantime, I just want to welcome all of you in our next series of webinars. Today, we're going to talk about a topic that probably most of you are familiar with because it's with us since like good few years, and we all hear about like mobile friendly websites, mobile responsive websites, etc. And I think we're all aware how important it is to make your website mobile responsive. But today I want to give you like top 10 tips how to make your website mobile friendly. The tips you could use straight away. I hope that you will find a few bits you can use on your website. So I think we can start now. We have 13 participants. So, but just to let you know, the webinar will be recorded, so you can like watch it anytime if you want to go back, or if you can't stay with me today, during all webinar. I'm Sarah. I'm e-commerce manager here at NetAffinity, and I think we are ready to go. So to take a look at our agenda. First, we'll try to answer the question, why mobile? I think we don't need to answer this question anymore, but yeah. And then we just go through the latest device trends on mobile. I have a few really interesting stats for you. So we will take a look at them and to show you some benchmarking so you can check where is your website comparing to other hotels. I think it's very interesting. And then we will talk about the main fields, how to make your website mobile friendly. And as I said, I tried to give you 10 tips how you can improve your mobile user experience straight away. So my main goal is to show you that you don't need to be website designer, UX specialist to improve your booking process and your website to make them friendly for mobile users. So why mobile is so important? As I said, I think we don't need to answer this question anymore, because like we don't connect anymore, we live connected. Like ask yourselves, when was the last time when you had to go back home to check something on your desktop device? Like all the answers, all the knowledge you have in your hands, in your mobile. You check your mobile all the time, you check your emails, you check all the websites, you book your holidays, you book your hotels, book your dinner tickets, anything. So we have our mobiles every time with us. So I think we all agree that mobile it's essential at the moment. And according to some stats from eMarketer, the mobile phone internet user penetration increased up to 63% since 2014. So it's like 15% increase, and it shows how important it is at the moment. But I think that the thing we're all interested in is how it looks for hotels, for hospitality, and I want to show you some nice stats. So according to latest hotel device trends from Q4 2019, 67% of all website visits are made on mobile. That's a lot, because it actually shows that 2 in 3 users visit your website on mobile. That's a lot. It's 2 in 3 users. So most of your users do actually use mobile devices. And what's even more important is that 47% of revenue from hotel websites was driven on mobile. So it's actually a huge jump. It's the biggest ever jump from Q2 in 2019, when mobile revenue was like around 39%. So it's like 8% during 6 months. So I think we can already say that in the next 6 months, it will be even more than 50%. And what's interesting, the mobile transactions, they are on a level of 52%. So what does it mean that mobile transactions are, there are more mobile transactions, there are mobile revenue, that the average transaction value on mobile, it's still a little bit lower than on desktop. The variance is around 19% in Q4 2019. So it shows that users actually, they book cheaper offers on mobile, like the B&B offers or room only rates. That's probably because when we book more expensive packages like family packages or spa packages, we want to, like, you know, just check your offer with our family, friends, then maybe we're more eager to use the desktop. So just to sum up those stats, here you can see, like, for traffic, mobile is the king. It's like 67%, 2 in 3 users, they visit your website on mobile. Then for revenue, it's more like around 50-50 for desktop and mobile, 47 for mobile and 46 for desktop. And what's very important to highlight here, like, that's the first time ever when mobile revenue is actually higher than desktop revenue. So why I think it's so important for you to take a look at those stats, it's check your, now you know the benchmark. So check your Google Analytics or check your Data Studio reports if you have access to those reports, and check where is your hotel comparing to that, because it may turn out that your traffic is around 65%, which is great, but then your revenue, let's say it's lower, it's like 30%. So that means that users visit your website, they go to your website on mobile devices, but there is something what stops them from booking. Maybe your booking process, it's not clear enough. Maybe there are some distractions. Maybe there is something what drives people away from your mobile website. So that's, like I always say, Google Analytics is a great tool. It's very simple tool, and it gives you, like, those signals that something, when everything is working great, that's great. But if something is wrong, then maybe you should, like, double check. Maybe you should double check your booking process. So please take a screenshot now, look at this benchmark, look at this data, and then check how it looks for your hotel. So now when we know some stats, I think we can go to the next part. So how to make your website mobile friendly. So if you see that maybe this mobile revenue, it's not at the great level, so then there is something to check, to focus on. So there are, like, 3 fields I want to talk about. One, it's your website and booking engine responsiveness. Another one is website speed and user experience. Those are, like, 3 main fields, and I know that it may sound a bit, like, technical, and you may think, okay, this is not something I could do, I don't have this knowledge, but I want to show you that it's actually not black magic, and it's quite easy to improve that, even with just access to your booking engine or your CMS. So the first thing, it's the booking engine and website responsiveness. So actually, what does it mean? What does responsive mean? So in a simple words, it means that the page uses the same URL and code on every device, but the display will adjust to the device's screen size. So actually, our users, if they use desktop, they see desktop version. If they use mobile, they see mobile version. So responsive web design offers a standardized user experience across all platforms and decreases download time. So because I know we're talking, like, even with this webinar's title, we talk about mobile friendly, but actually it's changed. It's not about mobile friendly at the moment, it's all about mobile first. And here in NetAffinity, when we design pages, we start with the mobile, and then we build desktop version, because we know how important is it, and that's the main thing. That's the right approach. We should take mobile first. So what does it mean for you? What you could do to check if your website is responsive? There is this really nice and easy tool, Google's mobile friendly test. You will have access to this presentation, and I've included a link where you can find this tool. But actually, if you just type in a Google search, the Google's mobile friendly test, that you will find it very easy. So actually you just type your website's URL, and then there are two options. Your page is mobile friendly or it isn't. So of course, it doesn't solve all our problems, but it's the first step to show if your website has been built as a responsive website. So it may turn out that your website is older than 3 or 4 years and it's actually not responsive. And in that situation, maybe that's a sign to think about a new website and just to focus on its responsiveness. So after this webinar, I really encourage you to check this tool and check if your website is responsive or not. And then another field I've mentioned before, it's a website speed. That's extremely important, and websites responsiveness also like decreases the loading time. And according to Google, 1 second, just 1 second delay in mobile load times can impact conversion rates by up to 20%. That's actually a lot. And ask yourselves, when you wanted to check something on a mobile, you clicked on a website, but it was loading like this 1 second too long. You're like, okay, I don't have time for that at the moment, and you've abandoned website. So I think you know yourselves how important is that. I don't want to focus more on this part, because last week there was a great webinar run by my colleagues Olive and Sharka, and they were talking about the website speed. If you wanna see them, if you wanna watch the webinar, there's also a link in the presentation here. The website speed part starts around the 25th minute, but of course I encourage you to watch the full webinar. It was a webinar about SEO on your website. I think it's great because with SEO, it's like we're all a little bit afraid of it. We think it's very technical, but again, there are like a few nice tips how you can improve your website SEO straight away. So I really encourage you to watch this webinar. And then we're going to talk more about the user experience on your website and how to provide great user experience. And what I always say to my clients, don't expect your guest will call you. I know that in hospitality, we are so used to phone calls. We are so used to be like in a face-to-face contact or a phone contact with our guests, but we need to be aware that trends change. And it's like, again, according to Google, 88% of travelers with smartphones would switch to another site or app if yours doesn't satisfy their needs. So what does this mean? Like, if we don't find full information on a hotel website, if we can't book a room in a simple way, or if we can't, I don't know, book a table, things like that. So I know that there is this approach that, okay, if guests needs to ask about something, they will call us. But we need to be aware that with the millennials and the Generation Z, which is going to be your hotel guests in a few years, they are so used to, just use mobile, do everything fast and easy, and they don't like to call, they don't have time to call, they don't like to. So you need to think about this part of your guests, because those guests who would call you, they will call you anyway. Those who are looking for like fast and easy online booking, they will go to OTAs, they would go to your competitors. So just please be aware of that and ask yourselves if it's like all the information there on your website, if it's easy to read, because that's another part. Like on a mobile, we don't read like big blocks of text. We just scan the text. So use bullet points in your rate plans descriptions, in your room type descriptions, so we can see all the facilities or all everything what's included in the room rate, just as a list, so we can scan it easy and quickly. So again, go through your website on the mobile, check if everything's there. And actually those guests who call you, they give you a lot of great information because they ask questions. So that's actually something what's important to your guests. So make sure that the information they ask about, it's already on your website. And now I think we can go to those 10 tips. I've promised to give you 10 tips how you can improve your mobile user experience straight away. And the main idea of user experience and the most important thing about that is to make things simple. That's when you have a website where you want to make your users, when you want to encourage them to book, it needs to be simple. Your offers needs to be simple. So we will focus on that and check how to make this booking process even easier. So the first thing is call to action, CTA. So call to action, it's a phrase used to tell the user exactly what action to take and how to take it. Because when you're first time on a hotel website, you may don't know what actually you're looking for, what action you want to take, if you want to book a room or book a table or send a wedding inquiry. So just to make sure that the navigation is easy and those call to action, they say in a clear way what action your guests should take. So the main purpose of a CTA is, as I said, it's you need to tell someone what they should do and you need to give them the motivation to do so. Those are like two most important parts. And the motivation, like let's say, if you want to encourage your guests to sign up to your newsletter, so then add like a short nice text like sign up to our newsletter and be up to date with our special offers and be the first one to know about our reopening date or to get 10% discount. So just make sure it's clear. And to build a strong CTA, there are like three most important parts. So it's a color. It's very important. I will say a little bit about colors on the next slides, but it's very important. Like, you know yourselves, some colors, they're just make you feel anxious, or like the red color is connected with with the danger, or like green color is connected with something nice and easy. So colors are very important on your website. The placement of your CTA. So if it's easy to tap, especially on mobile, if it's like close to the right thumb, if it's easy to find, that's all very important. And phrasing. So it could be for booking engine, it could be book now, it could be check rates, check availability. For wedding inquiries, it could be just like inquiry now. But just play with call to actions as well and check which works better for your clients, because it could be that for city hotels, people, they just want to, make a quick booking and just look for a book now call to action. But maybe if you have more like spa packages, family packages, it would be more like check rates, because actually I'm not booking at the moment. My next step will be to check rates and check if I want to stay in this hotel, if I like the packages, etc. So I just want to show you a few nice examples of a mobile call to actions. Those are those bars at the bottom of a mobile screen. So as you can see, like the main action on a hotel website, it's the booking. So the book now button should be close to the right thumb. So at the, like most of us are right-handed. So at the right bottom of your screen. So it's, even if we use only one hand, we can just like tap on a book now and it's easy to find. And of course you could add another buttons. I like call us for those users who are looking for a direct contact. If you know that your guests, they're looking for images, they need to check how their interior looks like, etc. Put their gallery, but you can also put offers. You could put vouchers if it's like a Christmas season and you want to push vouchers more, you can push them on the bot. Or if you have a few booking engines on your website, so there is an option to book a hotel stay, but there is an option also to book a spa treatment or to book a table. It's right on your website. Also good to have those call to actions here. So just take a look, again, go to your mobile website, check where is your call to action, check if it's easy to click, if it's easy to tap. If it's not, maybe this is something you can improve, and that would impact your mobile revenue, mobile bookings. And then second thing is play with colors. That's what I said before. Colors on the website are very important, and you need to make your call to action and your hyperlinks outstanding. So there is a contrast, as you can see at the previous example, there is like a contrast between call to actions and another buttons. But at the same time, you need to keep color harmony on your website. So it can't be messy. You can't use too aggressive colors, because then, you know, people will just don't feel comfortable on your website. And actually with the colors, there is a lot of like really interesting researches about that. And the main thing is to use the color wheel you see here. And there are like few options. You can use a contrasting color, so like opposite colors. You can use the same, you know, colors from the same group. You can use similar colors. So I've included a really nice, a link to a really nice article. It's not very advanced. It's very like nice and easy to read if you want to dig in a topic and just learn a little bit more about how you can actually use the colors for your business, because it's like black and gold is more associated with the business, and some hotels are more some colors like blue, it's more, you know, that's the company you can trust and things like that. So it's very, very interesting if you want to take a look, and then again check your website if actually with the colors on your website, if you send the right message to your target group. And then the third point are the forms. So keep your forms as short as possible. So just include the right number of fields and remove unnecessary fields. So all the forms like the reservation form, inquiry form, dining form. And here it's a very simple graph, but very interesting research made by HubSpot. They've checked how number of form fields impacts conversion rates. And actually here you can see that the best number of form fields is 3. Here the conversion rate was the highest one. And the more than 5 number of form fields, then after with 5 and more, the conversion dropped significantly. So it actually makes a huge difference, and every extra box we need to fill, it increases the risk that our guests will abandon their booking. And what does this mean for you? What could you do on your website? The one thing, the most important, if we talk about bookings and purchases on your website, is the reservation form. So if you use a NetAffinity's booking engine, you can choose between 2, short or long reservation form. So the short one is the one here on the right side. And this is the form where users just need to fill personal details, which is name, last name, email, and a phone number. And then you go to more details, which is like just some extra requests, and then payment details. That's it. 3 simple steps, booking is made. But if you have a long form enabled, then it means that guests, they need to fill address details. And here among the address details, we have a company name, which is optional, but with those optional boxes, it's not always clear to users that should they like fill it or not. So yeah, just ask yourself. I know that many of hoteliers, they like to have address details before the guest arrival. It makes it easier for you and for reporting. But then ask yourselves what's more important for you. If you want to get more online bookings, or you need to have this data before the arrival. Because like if you need to collect this data before the arrival, you can maybe enable pre-stay emails. So then you can, like 3 days before arrival, you can send an email to your guests and saying like, hey, could you like please fill the form? So especially now, it would just, you know, the check-in process will be like faster and easier. So then maybe it turns out that the short reservation form would work better for you. Or maybe you can just check, maybe just switch to short reservation form for a while, for a month, and then you check if there is any difference in the bookings. So if you want to, again, go to your website, check what type of form do you use at the moment. If you want to change it, just let us know, contact NetAffinity, contact your account manager, and then we can make this 1 month test, and then you decide if you want to stay with short or long reservation form. And then again, with the forms, as I said, dining forms, newsletter signups, inquiry forms, check if you ask for the really relevant information, because here, as you can see, there's just a dining inquiry. The same inquiry is for just like booking a table or like making a big reservation. So the hotel here asks for a first name, last name, email address, phone number. So again, ask yourselves if you really need all this information. Maybe just the first name would be enough just to contact your guests, even for a group reservation. Maybe you just need an email address, and the phone number could be optional, because for mobile users, they send inquiry via your website because they don't want to call you. So maybe they're not okay with phone contact. And here on the right side, we have a nice example of a newsletter sign up form, which is super simple. You just need a first name, an email address, and to tick a box that the user actually agrees that you send them marketing designs. Because at this stage, you don't need anything else. You don't need the last name. You don't need your guests to send you any additional message. They just sign up to your newsletters. So again, go through your website, review your forms, and ask yourselves if they're okay and easy to fill. And next tip is actually very, very connected to the previous one. It's like about to avoid unnecessary steps on your website and in your booking process. Because again, according to Google, 69% of users abandon a site or app because there are too many steps to purchase. So again, I'm pretty sure you had a situation when you were like, in your car in a traffic jam, and you just wanted to do some like quick transaction to buy a shoes online, and then it turned out that you need to take another step, and you were like, okay, I don't have time for it now. Maybe I do it later, but this later never happened. So the same is with the hotel bookings. So just check if there is something you could skip, and what could that be? So maybe you use the upgrade your room step. So then again, check if users do actually upgrade their rooms there, or maybe it's since you've turned it on, nothing has changed, or maybe you can just skip this step and check if your conversion rate increased thanks to that. So go through the booking process and check, okay, do I need to add this step, or maybe we can skip it to make it simple. And another important thing which adds a lot of steps to booking process are long room types and rate plans lists. So I know that especially now we're like panicking a little bit, and because we will need to look for new target groups, we'll need to get to those who haven't been our guests before. So we just add this package, or maybe you have like great spa treatments and you have 6 or 7 spa packages, and the only difference is one treatment. But actually, all the researches show that less is more. And actually giving too many options, we can just like frustrate our guests. And there was this really nice and interesting experiment with with the jam samples. So one company, they offered one day in a supermarket, they've offered just 6 jam samples, and another day they offered many more, like 24. So the first day, like only 40% of supermarket of buyers, they tried the jam, but 12% actually bought it. And the second day, when they have too many options. More people tried, but only 2% bought. So that's paradox of choice. When we have too many options, we can't choose the best one. So the same with your hotel offers. If we can't go through all the offers, all the rate plans, we can't compare them, and we actually don't see the huge difference, we just get frustrated and we can abandon our purchase, or we can just book the simplest option, which would be B&B or room only rate. Because it's like when you try 12 pairs of jeans, at the end you don't remember how was the first one. So the same, it's about hotel bookings. So think if you could make it simpler, maybe with those 8 spa packages, maybe you could just like one good spa package with the spa voucher, with the spa credit, and then users, they're actually your guests, and they actually could choose a treatment and to book it like a week or two before the arrival. And then the next part is to avoid distractions. Nothing annoys us on mobile more than pop-ups and widgets, ads that reorganize content. And here I've added actually this terrible example, but sometimes some websites still look like that. And I know that hotels they like to use pop-ups on the website because it's like the easiest way to communicate something, especially now with the new reopening date or like some special packages. But actually it's not the best way to communicate, because when we go to a website, we don't know the website, and the first thing we see, it's like the pop-up saying to sign up to our newsletter. But I have no reason to sign up to the newsletter at this stage, because I need to go through the website. I need to check if I'm actually interested in its offer. And just to show you that it's not just my opinion, I found this really nice survey run by the Nielsen Norman Group about the most hated online advertising techniques. And as you can see, the modal, which is pop-up, ad is the most hated advertisement tactic on mobile. So the maximum, the strong dislike was 7, and the pop-up got almost 6. So I think that answers questions. The question, should I add a pop-up to my website? But of course, like I know that we need to add some extra information. We need to make some information more outstanding. So how to avoid distractions and keep this option. Here in NetAffinity, we have this option to add an action bars to your website. They're actually pretty nice. This is how they look on the mobile. You can add some any kind of information actually, and then you can add a nice call to action. Could be if it's about your staycation offer, it could be check availability. If you want to link the action bar to your safety notice, or you have a separate page for health and safety measures, you can just add a nice read more call to action. And what's important, those action bars, they can be switched off, so they're not following user all the way across the website. So that's an option, and it doesn't make your website too messy. So yeah, if you think about adding a pop-up to your website, maybe just look for another options you could use. And then again, keep your navigation easy. And what do I mean by navigation? So like first thing, it's make sure your logo in Booking Engine and on your website is linked, so it's simple to return to homepage. So I just like start booking process, but I want to just check rates. I don't want to book at the moment. I just click on the logo in a Booking Engine and I go back to the website. Navigation, it's easy. I'm not lost. So that's very important. So go to your Booking Engine, go to your website, click through, check if it's working. Another thing, it's about linking to any external pages, and make sure they open in a new tab. It's very important in mobile, because when we are on one website, we click on a hyperlink, we are moved to another website, we just maybe don't want to visit this, we just want to quit straight away, and we just turn it off. So then we turn off and the eternal page, we don't go back to hotel website anymore. But if you want, if we open a hyperlink in a new tab, then I turn off the page, but then the hotel page is still under this one on mobile, so I can still continue my search on a hotel website. That's very important, so please check how it's set up on your website. If you have any issues with changing that, you can change it easy in your CMS, but if you have any issues, just let us know. And the same applies to PDFs and any docs on your website, especially on mobile. Like, users need to download PDFs and docs to their device, and I'm pretty sure that you had a situation in the past when something started downloading on your website and on your mobile, and you just started panicking and quit the page. I do this every time, especially we don't know, it may be a virus, it may be a very big file, so you don't want to download it. And PDFs and docs, they are not responsive, so the content is difficult to read. It may be like letters may be too small, too big. So as we've agreed before, responsiveness is very important. So avoid those PDFs. And another very important thing, PDFs are not indexed by Google, so they have no SEO value to your site. In a simple words, you get no organic traffic because Google simply doesn't know what's in your PDF. And the last but not least, like the page on content may be easily amended if you need to change anything. You don't need to change the whole PDF. Of course, I understand that sometimes you can have like a nice infographics, nice PDFs, lovely wedding brochure, lovely menu, a restaurant menu. So then just add a separate page of content. And then if you need to add a PDF at the bottom of the text, that's fine, but just make sure that all the information we need to find is also as added as a content on a separate page, not only PDFs. And then the next thing are payments. So keep your payments mobile friendly. Avoid deposit if it's not necessary, because it's especially at the moment, we don't feel very comfortable with paying any deposits, even if your terms and conditions say that you pay deposits at the moment of booking, but you can cancel for free 3 days before arrival. There will be a full refund. But especially, as I said, on mobile, we read less and we may not find this information. So avoid deposits if you don't need to use them, and make it super clear that you collect credit card details just to secure bookings, and you won't charge it if it's not necessary. So the credit card note you have in your booking engine, that's the information the most of users will see. So it's very important, not only what does it mean, but also how you say it. So here we have an example, like, please note the cost of your stay is to be paid either on arrival at the hotel, or in the case of advanced purchase rate, your credit card will be charged. That's okay, there's nothing wrong about this message, but as a mobile user, the first thing I see, and I read like 1, maybe 2 lines, it's like, please note the cost of your stay is to be paid. So that's the first message you send. And here we have a nice example which says, the first line is like, book now, pay later. And then we do not charge a booking deposit or a fee for most reservations. However, please note, if you have selected an advanced purchase rate, so that covers you, but it makes users feel more comfortable. So it's like with colors, the same with the good wording. We need to make people feel comfortable on our website, so they know that they're secured and their credit card details, it's safe with you. And of course, if you have free cancellation policy, if you take no booking fees, just make sure your guests know about that, and you inform your guests on your page, all across the page. And here's an example. You can add those why book with us reasons to your booking engine. Of course, now we advise to add also information about the cleaning standards, but also just add an information about the free cancellation, no booking fee. So guests are informed straight away that they actually can cancel the booking for free. And then another thing is to make sure users will be able to find your hotel and to find your location, because mobile users are more tend to check your location on maps straight from hotel website. So make sure you have a location page on your website. If you don't, please add it in your CMS, and then add Google Maps to your location page. So we can just type from where to hotel, we just get directions straight away. If you have it added, make sure that Google Maps loads correctly, because there are like some issues with Google. It actually should be updated once a year. So if you've added your Google Maps a few years ago, just make sure that something like that don't happen. And again, in a presentation, you have this link, how do I add Google Maps to my site? There is a really nice step-by-step instruction. Of course, if you have any issues, let us know. We'll do our best to help you to set this up correctly. And then help them to find you. So for those users, this is more about marketing, but for those users who don't know your hotel yet, make sure you are displayed on a Google Maps. So update your Google My Business, update your location, your address, information about reopening dates, whatever you need to add them. And then make sure you have restarted, set up your location campaigns. If you have any doubts, if you have a location campaigns running at the moment, again, just like contact your account manager or your marketing agency and check if you're displayed in those ads. And then for users who already look for your brand, make sure that you're running Google Hotel Ads campaign. That's also great way to capture those. This is because the location campaign is to help you to compete with other hotels in your region, and then Google Hotel Ads will help you to compete with other OTAs like Booking.com. So your direct price is actually displayed in your Google My Business profile among another OTAs. So if you offer the best available rate on your website, which is of course like highly advised, so then with this lower website in the Google My Business profile, you will be able to capture users. And again, on mobile, the Google Hotel Ads, it's sometimes the first we see on a mobile devices. And the last but not least, it's a Facebook lead generation campaign. I really want to tell you about this one because it works great, especially now when hotels are still closed. So the lead generation is the process of building interest in a business's products and services. And this is a great way to build up your database, because I know many of my clients, they're looking for new ways to get a good database to send their reopening offers, etc. So the lead generation campaign, they actually work really good. You can set up this nice ad on Facebook saying that, see you soon, stay safe, we hope to see you soon. When we reopen, sign up to our newsletter to be the first to know. And it works great for mobile because you have the option to set up on pre-populated forms. So that means that people can submit their contact information very easy, even on a small screen. So check if you can set up those campaigns, and then just before your reopening, you can send a lovely e-sign to your future guests to inform them that you're reopening and you have like some nice offers for them. So I really I really encourage you to do that. It works great. Like we've already, we're running those Facebook lead generation campaigns with many of our clients, and they've already built a really good, valuable database. So I think that's all from me. I hope, as I said, that you found a few nice bits you could use on your website. If you have any questions, I don't know if it's no questions at the moment, but if you have any questions, just please contact us directly on the clientsuccess@netaffinity.com, or just contact your account manager. So we'll be happy to help. And thank you very much for joining webinar, and stay safe and see you soon. Bye bye.